Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind podcast, built for real estate professionals that want to work less, earn more, and make an impact in their community. For information on how you can become part of the estate professionals community, visit probatemastery.com. Welcome in to the Estate Professionals Mastermind weekly coaching call. We're here for you guys to ask your questions, share your stories. We'll share some strategies that you can be using in your business to grow kind of the probate and the estate administration niche, or the estate niche. So if you have never been here before, I'm going to just kind of give you guys a little bit of housekeeping. You can drop down to the bottom of your Zoom screen, hover over the bottom, get that little control panel up, and click the React button. That'll give you a bar that says raise your hand if you'd like to ask any questions or share any stories, anything like that. Those of you that are here, you guys know the drill. I'd love to hear from some of you guys early. Otherwise, you get to hear me talk about making calls or sending mail or something like that. So I'd love to hear from some of you guys as soon as possible. I do want to announce, and we just sent out an email a couple of minutes ago. So if you didn't see an email from me, go check your spam box or something like that. I sent out an email announcing our revamp of the Mastery Academy program. So if anyone here has never been in Mastery Academy, we've got a new version of Mastery Academy starting next week. So if you want to know a little bit more of that, read the email, book a discovery call on that email. I'll give you just a real quick peek inside of it right now. It's going to be a 12-week, multiple workshop per week coaching program. It's going to be group. We're going to go over, we're going to deep dive into things that you probably already learned in Probate Mastery, but we're going to go a little bit deeper. So Probate Mastery, we don't want it to take 200 hours. So sometimes I don't give you like, hey, here's your box template. Here's this. I don't give you like the 100 hours of call strategies and scripts. I give you the things that I know that you can use right now. So it's kind of a deep dive into the things that you learned in Probate Mastery. If you have not taken Probate Mastery yet, that's fine. If you want to join into Mastery Academy, we can give you the Probate Mastery certification course as one of the courses that comes along with it. If anyone here has already been in Mastery Academy or some kind of coaching with me, you can apply that price over to the Mastery Academy. Because it's group, we are keeping it rather affordable. We're also giving lifetime access. So as long as I'm doing these workshops, and I don't plan on ever quitting, but as long as I'm doing these workshops, you'll be able to come back in, whether you've taken that workshop in the past before or not, whether you missed it before or not. Every 12 weeks, we'll essentially recycle through the training topics that we do. It's going to have accountability, a CRM for your projects, role play, just a bunch of other good things. So take a look at your email, book a discovery call if you'd like to know more or would like to jump into that group program. Let me go to Kurt, though. Kurt, what do you have?
Hey, how are you today?
Really good. How are you?
Good. I'm fine. Thank you. Quick question. Do you have a cold call script or something you prefer to say when you're calling someone, out of the blue?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a really good question, because I am working through a video that's getting added into Probate Mastery. So Kurt, I'm going to answer your question in a roundabout way. I'm going to give you the script in just a second, but I want to show folks where they're going to be able to find it. If you've already been through Probate Mastery before, like you have, Kurt, I've actively over the last week been adding lessons almost every day. I've been adding lessons into the Probate Mastery program. And I just want to give you guys a quick look at where you can find those. Kurt, the scripts that you're asking about are probably a day or two out from being added in. That's why I'm going to give them to you on this call. Okay, or at least some of them on this call. I'm not going to give you the full thing on the call, but at least some. All right, so inside of Probate Mastery, and if you're not looking at my screen, please look at my screen. If you're listening after the fact and you're listening on podcasts, not on YouTube, jump over to YouTube if you want to see the screen. So we've got a full list of courses. This originally was Chad's course. I was in the process of doing Probate Mastery 2.0 I'm still doing Probate Mastery 2.0, but it's going to be for those in Mastery Academy. So what I'm doing since I've changed things up is I'm going in and I'm adding lessons to the original version where I might have had a different way of doing things or have a little extra insight, or maybe one market's different from another. I'm piling a bunch of individual lessons in on top of what you already had. So if you've already been through Probate Mastery in the past, there's going to be a little blue checkbox next to anything that you've already done. So any lesson that you've already taken, there's a blue checkbox. You see here, this lesson right here is titled Bruce's Spin on the Numbers. There's no checkbox here. I put it in here recently. I didn't watch it myself, so it's not a checkbox. That'll kind of show you what has been added if there's not a checkbox. So inside of this, I'm probably putting minimum 10 to 12 hours of added lesson content into Mastery as we speak, hoping that I'll have the rest of that content done by the end of the week. Now, with that said, when I jump on a call, I've got a full document here, and if you guys want this, it's going to be in Probate Mastery. If you're not in Probate Mastery, you just get a little teaser right now. Go take Probate Mastery and get the rest of it. So I've got a Probate Prospecting Scripts folder, and I've got a lot of different ways that I can say things. So let's pretend that I've used this before many, many times. For years, this is how I got 1 or 2 deals a month. So my call went kind of like this, and it's very direct. Hey, can I speak with Kurt? Kurt, listen, I'm not sure we know each other. My name's Bruce Hill, calling from Triangle Estate Solutions Group. Listen, I don't want to take a bunch of your time. I was calling because I have a real estate service for people in the probate process and estate process that have real estate that might need to be sold. Are you by any chance involved with the estate of Jane Doe? Now, you guys can imagine that from time to time I would get cussed out. Absolutely. This is about the estate of Jane Doe. I have a real estate service for that. Are you involved? Yes, I'm involved. No, I'm not involved. How dare you call? And then I would ask, was the family thinking about selling the property by any chance? And I would get, why do you ask? How dare you ask? Yes, we're selling. Maybe. We're not sure yet. We already sold. All the different answers. So one of the scripts that you guys are going to have in Mastery is this. I don't use this anymore. Not because it doesn't work. This works if you have a good number of leads. This works to get you deals every single month. And as you can see, it's pretty easy. But not everybody loves it. So I've kind of moved on into more of an opening where I open the call, I create hopefully just a tiny bit of curiosity. It's a softer opening, little bit of curiosity, and then I get their permission to move on. So this is an example, and I've just got loads of these openings. They're going to be in Mastery. This is just an example of how it might be. Hi, my name is Bruce Hill. I run a company locally called Triangle Estate Solutions Group. I may or may not ask how their day is. I'm not a big fan of saying, how are you today? It just depends on your tonality. Listen, Kurt, I don't want to take a bunch of your time. This is about the estate of Mrs. Smith. Kind of looked like you might be the personal representative for that estate. Is that right? Or are you the one handling that probate process? You'll probably say yes. Now, I'll hear some skepticism in your voice. I'm used to that. But I want you to say yes. And then I may offer some sort of empathetic statement. So the way my empathetic statements typically go is, I assume that was probably someone close, a close family member. Is that right? No, it's not. Yes, it is. I'm just going to get either way. I need to know how I need my tone to change. So yes, it is. Hey, listen, I'm really sorry to hear about the loss. I know you probably have a lot going on. You think I could take a quick second, maybe tell you what I was calling for? This opening will get me a favorable response. Yes, you can take a second, 95% of the time. Sometimes it's going to be a friendly, you can take a second. Sometimes it's going to be this big sigh, like, yeah, go ahead. All right. That'll dictate what sort of pitch I go into, but I do like to ask that permission before I really dive into a pitch. Now, real fast, just because these two things go together, I've got a couple of pitches here, and I call the pitch the unique selling proposition. So, the pitch that I normally run with is the concierge unique selling proposition, and I'm going to say it to you. I'm not going to read it to you. If I pulled it up and read it to you, you'd wonder why I didn't read the script. This is internal for me. Kurt, basically, my company, we help families through the probate process with what we like to refer to as kind of like a concierge program. It helps with almost every aspect of probate from A to Z. Listen, I don't want to bore you with a million details that some stranger on the phone called you up with. Can I ask, how long have you been in probate? Is it something you guys just started, or have you been in it for a minute? And now your answer to that question tells me which way I need to push and where I need to pivot. So the opening of your call, your opening and how you deliver your USP dictates how well your call's going to go. Now, I love people to say, "Hey, we just started. We don't need anything right now." I love it when they say, "No, my attorney's doing everything for me." Those objections that most people fear, I really enjoy them because they give me a chance to offer some resources and ask some follow-up questions, and all those things need to be perfected with role play. But if you can kind of get down what I just gave you, your most of your calls are going to go pretty well. Not all, but most. And Kurt, I know we've talked, you call, you know this, so I'm talking to everybody else. Your calls are going to go pretty well. And if I get 95% of the people to politely engage with me, even if I can tell that they're not jumping up and down excited for my call, I consider that a success. I'll find out what's going on. I'll move them into my pipeline if they're not ready yet. All right, does that help?
It does. And it seems like that last one was probably the best or the smoothest. That sounded very smooth and
Yeah.
non-threatening. Like I would talk to you, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate reading scripts. I hate it. Sometimes if I pull a script up, it messes me up because I'm like, oh, am I sticking semi close to the script? The whole reason that I sometimes will demonstrate with the script is just so you guys can see what the messaging of the in the script is, and then hopefully internalize it pretty quickly.
And those are in the probate mastery courses now.
The updated scripts and the lessons that go along with those are being added. I've already recorded one out of about 5 or 6 scripting lessons. It's being edited now. The other ones I plan on recording tomorrow, and they'll be in probably by the end of the week.
Thank you.
Work. All right, Kurt. Thanks so much. If you have any follow-ups, just let me know.
One other quick question. I looked at your LinkedIn, and I want to put I've never had a LinkedIn. I want to put a LinkedIn page up. Is it okay to? I looked at yours and I liked how it was set up. Is it okay to copy that, or do you recommend one that you like, maybe even more than yours, that you would go, man, I like that LinkedIn. Do it like that.
Well, if I liked one more than mine, I'd have probably changed mine by now. So, I see LinkedIn profiles that I really like. I like to humanize myself, so in all that about me stuff, I'm trying to show people what I enjoy in life. And then I'm hitting different companies that I've been involved with and things. I find that a lot of folks don't read your profile. They don't look at everything that you're doing. They quickly at a glance look and they see whether it's professional or not. And a lot of people make a determination based on their first 30-second preview of your profile. And I've had clients that I've cold called on the phone, that were rude to me. This happened one time. I've told the story many times. Rude to me, hung the phone up, called me back 5 minutes later and said, I found your LinkedIn profile. I actually do have houses I've inherited and I want to sell. I just get a lot of calls from a lot of people, and most of them aren't legitimate. You look legitimate. Let's talk. All from a LinkedIn profile that he went and looked at later after he was extremely rude on the call. He was so rude when I cold called him that I had decided not to call anymore for the day. I was just like, I'm done. I'm not gonna call this guy. Just ruined my day. 5 minutes later, we're talking about selling four houses he'd inherited
And
because
maybe that was because you had a LinkedIn profile. You had somewhere where he could go check you out and go, oh, look, this guy actually exists. He's got a life, and it had a little bit about you. It had a lot of personal stuff in there. I
mm-hmm.
saw. So,
Yep. Yep.
okay.
There's plenty of good LinkedIn profiles. I'm not saying mine's the best. Mine has accomplished what I want it to accomplish. So if you want to copy it, copy away. Obviously, if you don't do jujitsu or scuba dive, you might not want to put that in your profile.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Mikhail, what's happening?
How we doing, Bruce?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm looking forward to hear how you validate my response. Been listening to these for quite some time.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I want to take this in a little bit of a different direction. I was wondering how you would approach speaking with guardians,
Okay.
people who are, I've seen in my market a lot of them are attorneys, but a lot of them are also just people who work out of their address and take care of people who are no longer competent enough to make decisions for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So these would be like professional court appointed guardians in your market, I'm assuming.
Exactly.
Okay. So cold call or through the grapevine relationship. What are you getting?
I'm thinking starting off with the call,
Okay.
but trying to develop a longer term relationship because I am working with an investor who has the capital backing to purchase cash.
Hmm.
And we can also do the listing option. But this one, it seems like it would be somewhere in between speaking with an attorney to build that relationship, but also like a personal representative. I feel like this might be a little bit of a different approach. I could be wrong.
Maybe a little bit. We're not going to go crazy on changing the approach up. So, Mrs. Guardian or Mr. Guardian, listen, I have a program here in the area that works with a lot of people in the middle of estate administration and probate. I noticed that you're in guardianship. Is that right? Can you tell me exactly what it is that you do? Okay, now you might not know, so you don't have to role play it back. All right. And then I'm gonna go, yeah. Could I expand on why I called briefly? Could I expand on why I called briefly? Okay, so basically, I get involved a lot with people that have real estate, or sometimes they don't have real estate. I'm in the real estate space, but I've tried to identify some of the needs that people just through going through estate administration have. And I've noticed that most people are just calling them and trying to buy or sell a house when a lot of times there's a lot of other needs. Um, I was hoping to find someone like you and maybe pick your brain for a couple of minutes on what some of your clients might need if it wasn't specifically real estate related. Do you have a minute for that?
Okay.
And then I'm going to ask questions about their business. So, can you tell me how do you get involved with some of your cases, and how long have you been doing this? Okay, what sort of clients do you typically work with? What is kind of treat me like I'm 5 years old and don't know anything. What does guardianship do? And if I can get them answering questions and talking, they're not gonna really pay a whole lot of attention to anything else. They're just going to feel like they're going to feel like they like me just because they're talking. So that's my entire objective with an attorney, really with a personal representative as well. If I can pepper them with some questions and get them flowing, and then I'm piling the questions on, they'll usually you can hear that breaking point where the resistance drops out of their voice and they just start talking to you like a friend.
Great. And then from there, you can try to set up maybe a coffee meeting to discuss what can happen. Or they might bring up, hey, I have a client who actually they need to sell because they're going to be moving to assisted living.
Yeah, they might bring that up. A lot of times, I don't expect attorneys, guardians, I don't expect these administrators to necessarily automatically start thinking that way right away. What I think that it's going to take a little bit more nurturing of that relationship before they're going to go, hey, I got somebody for you. So what I might do is go, hey, wild idea, while I'm putting my program together, it's always while I'm putting my program together. Always. I teach this. If I'm talking to an attorney, I still say while I'm putting my program together. Makes me very non-threatening. While I'm putting my program together, I was thinking some of the things that I might do could be good services that you could offer your clients for free, just an added value. Would it make sense to meet for 5 or 10 minutes sometime in the next week or two? So would it make sense to maybe meet sometime for in the next week or two for 5, 10 minutes? Now, you might want to say 30 minutes. That's fine. It depends on how quickly you can summarize that future meeting. I'll ask for the time that I think it's going to take. And that, if you've had a good conversation, will probably get you a follow up.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Hey, Lou, what do we got?
Hey Bruce, there's a few questions in the chat. Let's see here. From Jim Stewart, he's asking, have you shared this training and scripts with appointments today?
No. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. Just more through osmosis because we were on the same kind of all the leads panel for a little while. For a couple of months, they were Matt was always on the all the leads panel, and I would share approaches like this. And then he and I had a conversation or two where we kind of talked through some probate call strategy. Um, here's what I want. I want to add a little bit more context to your question because there's a lot of people here that probably have no idea who Appointments Today is. So, a little bit of context that Jim already knows, but some of the rest of you might not. Appointments Today is a call service that's calling on behalf, probate leads on behalf of realtors and investors. And it's my belief that any time you have a cold caller calling for you, that their primary mission is to tell you who the correct person is with the correct phone number. If the person answers the phone and they go, hey, Jim, yeah, this is Jim, they just eliminated 4 of the 5 phone numbers that you were worried about trying to chase down. The second objective that a cold caller should have is get you permission to send resources. So the script that I just gave you would change a little bit if I had a caller for me. If I had a caller, I would have the cold caller, the ISA, the VA, whatever you call them. I would have them say, hey, not a sales call. Essentially, I work with Jim Stewart at XYZ company. We just have this program and resources completely complimentary for people going through the probate process. I was wondering if we sent it to you, if you'd take a look and call us if you needed anything. Extremely passive. Like, people want to be resistant. I'm equipped to handle their skepticism and resistance. Hopefully, you're equipped to handle their skepticism and resistance. It's hard to get someone in another country equipped to handle the skepticism and resistance when they're not doing this every day. So, I want to make it where I'm offering something that is almost impossible for the person to be resistant toward. Wondering if I sent you a packet with some resources that are available in the area that help through probate, if you'd look at it and give us a call if you ever need anything. I mean, why would anyone ever say no to that? I'm not saying, can I chase you down? I'm saying, would you call me if there's anything in my package that you want to look at? Okay. And then me, as the agent or the investor, I'm going to take that quote unquote lead and I say quote unquote lead. They're not a hot lead. They haven't said I'm selling a house. They haven't said I want an appointment. They haven't said any of that. They just said, yeah, send me the package. I'll call you if I need anything. But at least I know there was a conversation with the right person at the right number, and I'm following up on that for a deeper call within 5-10 minutes in a perfect world. So to go all the way back to your other question, Appointments Today has heard some of this. I don't know if they're using this or not. We didn't have a talk about them actually incorporating some of my scripts with them in their system. Okay. Does that
Cool,
help? Any
thanks.
follow-ups?
It was a question in the chat,
It
so
was
let's see
chat, but I
here.
see Jim. I can see his profile.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
I just had a quick follow-up question for you, Bruce.
Hmm.
So I've been working with these guys since the fall. Really, we just kind of kicked off around October timeframe is when things got rolling. And I got my first lead conversion in December, and I'm an investor. So I've purchased that property. We've renovated it. We should be listing it within the next 2 weeks. So little success story there. And then so far this year, I've gotten two other appointments. One of them was actually yesterday. Um, and I'm in the running to, make a bid on a property. The personal rep hasn't been given permission to sell the property yet. There's three heirs involved. But I got permission to go and tour the property. And now, I took all that information back to my home office so I could figure out the numbers and come up with a fair offer for them. So that's why I was asking this question, because I'm looking at the call volume, the number of conversations they're having, and then the when I look at conversions, I'm looking at either appointments, nurtures, follow up. So
Hmm.
those are all people who have responded positively to being contacted, or they've indicated, yes, we have a property that we're going to sell. So
Okay. How
uh,
how many nurtures or follow-ups are coming from them?
I had six in the last, let's see, 6 months.
Okay. So the people that are doing the best
So
with
one a month.
with cold callers, and that's not surprising. Listen, when you're working with an agency, they are kind of teaching this blanket approach that needs to fit everyone because they're calling for a whole bunch of people. When you have an agency, it's hard to implement some of this strategy. Um, but those that are having some of the best success are getting typically 6 a week
Yeah,
into their nurture system with a cold caller. And that would be with a cold caller who also has an accent. Most of it is because I'm lowering the standard of what I'm looking for from the cold caller. I don't need the same level of quality in a lead from a cold caller. I just need right phone number, right person. Yeah, I'll give you a call if anything in your package is intriguing. I mean that's as warm of a conversation as I need to follow up on. If they don't get to real estate, I will Google the decedent's address. If there's a house, then
right.
I know that they're probably gonna sell, and I'm calling and I'm deepening that relationship.
Sure.
Yeah. So but still, I mean, the results that you got, I think that those are decent results. I mean, ultimately, the ROI is the main thing that matters. Um, I would as a competitor of yours, and I'm not a competitor of yours, but if I was a
Right.
competitor of yours, I'd love those results because you're getting deals and you're making money, but there's still a ton available for me because you only got 6 follow-ups this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's just from the direct calls. So I
Yep.
am also using direct mail. I've got a very good website. I get a lot of just organic leads from people going to our website.
Hmm.
And you don't always know why they're going to the website unless you have that specific conversation with them. It's like, did you do a random Google search, sell my house for cash? Or did you see one of our postcards or letters? You know, um,
Yep.
so
Yep.
yeah.
Got it. Um, so I'm gonna go to Teresa first, then back to Kurt, unless Kurt, I think your hand went back up. So then you, then I'm gonna grab some of the other chatted questions from Lou. So Teresa, go for it.
Okay. Hi, Bruce. Thanks. So my question is, when you say you're going to send a package of information,
Mhm.
what's included in the package? Do you have that outlined on the website somewhere?
We're outlining pieces of it in Probate Mastery. There's going to be more pieces of it that are going to be tied to the Mastery Academy coaching program. I will give you a couple of things right now. So ultimately, this is more of a philosophy. So I'm going to give you a philosophy, and then I'm going to give you a couple of pieces that you could go work on. So philosophically, I know that I'm competing with a number of other agents and investors. So the idea is to figure out what they're sending, and I can tell you basically what they're sending. If they have a conversation, um, about 20% of those that have had a conversation with your prospect on the phone will send a follow-up letter. Okay, so if 10 people had a conversation with your prospect on the phone, they're going to get 2 letters. One out of those 2 agents or investors that have sent that single follow-up letter are going to send a second or a third piece. So that's what you're typically up against in the average market is 2 competitors or 4 competitors. It depends on how many people are in your market that are pursuing the niche at all, who send one follow-up piece. And then 1 or 2 of them are going to do 2 or 3 follow-up pieces. And most of the time, they're going to be letters with maybe a brochure involved. And that historically is enough to get the average person to at least consider your offer if they're gonna or bring you for an appointment if they get to the point where they're gonna sell. If they're not ready to sell within 30 days of getting that follow-up piece from you or your competitor, they're gonna forget all about you. They will completely forget you. So what I want, and this is one of the reasons I like people that say, I don't know what we're gonna do yet, because my competitors are going to send that mailer once, maybe twice. And by the time the family makes a selling decision in 5, 6 months, they're not going to remember the person that did 2 letters 4 months ago. But I have a 6 month, 5 month runway to put real value in front of that person. Um, People have done comparable things to pre-listing packets before. If you've ever seen a pre-listing, like a Tim and Julie Harris pre-listing packet where it's got 8 different topics, people have done comparable things to that, where inside of that little folder, there might be a page on estate sales, there might be a page on um, uh, real estate options, there might be a probate checklist, there might be a brochure. Okay. There could be other things in it as well. You definitely need a letter in there or 2. You definitely need a postcard or 2 in your follow-up campaign. Um, some people are doing like the heavy duty envelope like this, and this is heavy duty. If you're sending an envelope, I don't want it to be a flimsy, floppy, like little manila envelope that doesn't have substance. It needs to be something that feels more important just when they grab the envelope. That's it. Um, in that you could do a vendor flyer. You could do a how-to guide. You could do an FAQs. Okay. Now, beyond this, brainstorm. I have other things and samples. A few of them are going to be added into Probate Mastery into a section within the week. So I'm adding a little bit. The biggest challenge that I have with this question on a coaching call are if I said, hey, here's your templates, here's your examples, we would flood the market and it wouldn't be unique anymore. Inside of Probate Mastery, I'm going to give some of those examples to where you can at least be unique, but I'm going to encourage you guys to add to some of the examples I give you inside of Probate Mastery because there will be other people that take Probate Mastery. Inside of Mastery Academy, that's where we have all the samples, templates, and we're also creating new marketing material as well. So there's things that I'm working on at any given time. I'm probably working on an updated follow-up marketing piece. I hope to have come to the point where we have 15 or 20 samples and marketing pieces that can be included in these packages over time. But remember, your goal with follow-up marketing pieces and resources, your goal is to outpace your competition early. And then once your competition has quit doing any kind of mail follow-up, continue that for the next couple of months. One of the people that went through coaching with us, Mastery Academy, 6-7 months ago, was personally going through probate himself. His mother had died. And he called me really early in the program, panicked, and he said, hey, I filed for probate for my mom's estate yesterday, and today I got 2 calls. And he said, I think I call my leads too late. And he said, am I getting my leads too late? Am I calling too late? What's going on? I got 2 calls and my competitors are doing this. And I said, well, first question, what are you going to do with their house? And he said, I don't know yet. Okay. Second question, what were the names of the 2 people that called you today? And he said, I don't remember. Okay. So that's what our consumer is going through. We're going to reach out to them. It's really unlikely on the first interaction, unless your conversation is skill and conversation is exceptional. It's really unlikely that they're going to say, yes, I'm selling the house tomorrow, come out tomorrow, and I've got your information and I've already looked your website up. It's unlikely that that's going to happen. It's more likely that they're going to say, I'm in the middle of other stuff. I haven't decided on the house yet. Now, a certain percentage of people have financial urgency. It's 10, 15, 20%, depending on your market. They've got a big fat mortgage sitting on top of the house in probate, and they don't have any money in the estate's bank account, and they got to go right now. There's a percentage of those people that you don't need to have good follow-up marketing or a good plan. You're just going to catch them at the right time and they're going to go. I love the 10 or 20%. In my market, it's probably 10%. I love those. I don't build a business on those. I build a business on the 90% that have no mortgage or plenty of money in an estate's bank account and a lot of other things that my marketing is really going to separate me from the competitors over the next 5 or 6 months. That's where you build a business, is in the separation from your competitors.
So do you always mail the physical pieces or do you follow up with email also?
Oh, email, great. Yeah, please do also do email. We don't know what their formula is as an individual. Some people like being called. Some people don't like being called. Some people want to be texted. Some people think text is unprofessional. Some people want a letter. Some people want a postcard. Some people want a box. Some people want a package. Some people want an email. I don't know what the formula is. So over time, I'm going to build a little bit of each thing into my campaign over time, not on day one. Day one, if you try to build all that into your campaign on day one, you're going to overwhelm yourself and you'll think that you can never get there. There's a quote. I've heard Tony Robbins say it. I don't know where it originally came from, probably like Jim Rohn or something like that. It's people dramatically overestimate what they can accomplish in a year, but they underestimate what they can accomplish in a life. And I'm going to pull this back and say, A lot of people that come into probate overestimate what they can accomplish in 2 year or 2 month, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Okay. But they underestimate what they can accomplish in 6 months. So the idea with this stuff is list out everything that you think that you'd like to put into a campaign, and every week get one little piece completed. Get an email done. Next week, create a checklist. Next week, order a stack of note cards. The next week, maybe make a brochure. The next week, write a second follow-up letter, and just little by little add pieces in. And the things that I'm describing, they don't take a whole week to do. You could do 2 or 3 of these things each week. And in a couple of months, you've got a really robust campaign that may not even be as robust as it will be one day. But I promise you, within a couple of months, you're going to look so much better than anyone that you're competing with. It's going to look like a mile for them to catch up. So that's the goal, is little by little. So emails, yes. I think that physical marketing material in their hands is better than email for most people, but some people just want the email.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Hey guys, I'm butting in here with a quick ask. If you're getting value out of this coaching today, I want to invite you to check out my Probate Mastery trainings over at www.probatemastery.com. Probate Mastery is for you if you're an agent or an investor that wants to work with motivated sellers that have inherited real estate that they don't need and in many cases can't afford. These sellers are more appreciative, willing to trust your expertise, and less likely to nickel and dime you over commission or price. Why is that? They're often in the middle of a complex probate or an estate administration process, and this means that real estate is very often a burden on them, and they simply need the help. Inside of Probate Mastery, I teach you exactly where to source your leads, how to establish value, and offer your service in a way that quickly makes you, as the professional, your market's expert in the probate space. If you want to know a little bit more, go over to www.probatemastery.com. Hope to see you guys inside of the community. Thanks. Let's go back to Kurt.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Teresa. That was my question, actually. But great minds think alike. But I'll follow up with that with just a question. What do you bring to the meeting with you? Just roughly, what's in your packet that you have? I assume you have a kind of a little, packet that you bring.
Okay, so this type of packet is different from the packet that we were just describing. So that's a mail packet. What I'm going to try to do, if somebody's not ready yet, I'm going to try to finagle my way into a property preview. If I am property previewing and they're not ready to sign anything, like they made it very clear that we're just meeting for an estimate on the house or something and they're not ready to do anything, I don't bring anything except for a notepad. So it depends on what kind of meeting I'm getting. So here's the way my conversations frequently go. I offer to send them a packet. They say yes. And then I say, hey, before I jump off, some people going through probate have assets like vehicles or real estate that are involved in the estate that need to be either refinanced, title changed, or sometimes even sold. Do you guys have any assets like real estate that you guys might be selling, or is it just way too early to tell? So I'm giving them the out, but I'm giving them the out that I would prefer that they take. So there's an out that I don't want them to take, and that is we're not going to sell. So I'm giving them the out that I would prefer, which is it's too early. Most people say it's too early. Okay, which tells me they're probably going to sell the house. And I just gave them the ability to resist me without lying to me and saying, I'm not going to sell. You have no idea how many people I called over the years that I would say, are you guys thinking about selling the house or keeping the house? And they'd say, I'm keeping the house. And I'd write it down, keeping, not a lead. And then there'd be a sign in the yard in 2 weeks. Okay, I gave them the opportunity to lie to me. So now, if I'm giving them an opportunity to resist, it's going to be something that I can work with, which is usually haven't decided yet. It's too early. Right, and then I go, totally understand. You're probably going to be in the middle of probate for a little while. I'll tell you what. Um, I know it'll be a while before you have that conversation, but if you guys do have the conversation and if selling something that you're going to do you think maybe I could bring an offer at that point? Would that be okay? Very hard to say no. If we sell, you can't bring an offer. Really hard to say no. I would say impossible to say no. No, if I sell, I would never let you bring an offer. Okay. I've heard that before from people that are just being jackasses, but not many people. So yes, if we sell, you can bring an offer. And then I go, since I'm sending you a packet, would it be okay if I slipped a little estimate of what that might look like in the package? Really hard to say no. Really difficult to say no. Sure, you can put it in there. Hey, you're already sending it. And then I go, I'm going to just kind of guesstimate on the condition. I might drive by sometime in the next day or two. I don't imagine you're going to be around in the next day or two where maybe I could stop by, are you? And frequently I'll get a yes. Now that's a property preview. That's not a definitive, I want to get an offer from you. I want to see your listing plan. There's none of that. I'm just showing up 10 minutes, get some face-to-face time, taking a notepad, take some notes, not really taking a package. If I do take a package, it might be the same thing I was going to mail and I'll just leave it with them. Now, if I know that they're going to sell and we have a legitimate appointment to discuss options for selling, then personally, I like to keep things really simple. And I am looking, I've got a booklet. I've got a listing booklet that I'm looking for. I was hoping that it would just kind of stand out to me. It's going to be in the Probate Mastery, the new lessons in Probate Mastery. Just shows my listing booklet. I got it from a guy, designed from a guy in Texas. Anyone that wants that, please let me know or go through Probate Mastery. It'll be in there. It's 20 pages and it's essentially a prop that allows me to hit on my 4 major points of a listing presentation. So I take that book and then I take a listing menu. So my book is the prop that I use to illustrate the points that I'm going to make in the listing presentation. And obviously I'm going to take listing paperwork or purchase paperwork, one of the two. The book is what I'm going through and it hits 4 points. It hits to sell your house for the most money. You've got to prepare your home. You've got to present your home well. You have to promote your home through marketing, and you have to price your home appropriately. And that's what I walk through with people. And I hit for 2 or 3 minutes on each topic how I do those things. And so my book is only the prop. It's only serving as the professional illustration to reinforce the words that I'm saying. And then I say, do you guys want to move forward? Does it make sense to talk about price? And if we talk about price, I'll grab my comps and I'll grab my listing menu where it shows the 3 different listing plans. Now, theoretically, we've also had to talk about whether they just want a cash offer as well. So I always have a purchase paperwork as well and a general idea of what I would buy the house for. But in my market, I'd say 80% of everyone typically leans pretty heavily toward the listing versus the cash. That's just my market. Follow up? Anything else, Kurt?
So you actually bring your the different prices you would have, whether it's a creative offer, whether it's a cash offer, whether it's a listing offer. Is that correct? You kind of have those all planned out.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Yep. Now, a lot of times those things aren't written onto the page because I may not know the condition of the house yet. But I have a sheet that has all those options on it. And then I already have in my head, hey, if this house needs work, this is probably what my cash would be. This is what my list would be. This is what creative finance would be. If this house is in good shape, these are the prices on these 3 options. I just kind of know those. I might write them down somewhere that they never see. But all I need to do is verify condition of the house to be able to write those on a sheet for them.
And you can actually finalize that then. If they say, yeah, let's go ahead.
Yeah.
You could do any of those 3 or 4 options right then. Good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Hey, Lou, what else do we have?
We got about 3 or 4 more questions. I'm just going to list them out so that you
Okay.
could decide how you want to tackle them. First one, kind of a repeat question, like from 2 weeks ago, but how do you deal with the do not call lists? That's
Mm,
one.
hmm.
Another one, how long until Chad's version and your version disappears forever? I kind of answered that by saying that Probate Mastery is a lifetime course. But there was a follow-up also that you said that once you're done with 2.0, you may take down the original. But then I also responded that you're actually adding more sections to the original.
Okay.
So like, will it be taken down?
Here, let's move to the
You
next
know,
question. I'll answer that thoroughly.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
and then the last one, well, not the last, but second to the last, was more about 2.0 probate mastery. How much is it if you have already taken it? Basically, if you're an alumni
Yeah.
of probate mastery.
Yep.
And yeah, those were the three that were in the queue.
Hmm. Okay. Tell me the first again.
First one again was how do you deal with the do not call list?
DNC. Okay.
Yeah.
Phew. So questions on the do not call list are always really tricky to answer. Really tricky because there's different interpretations of the rules and the laws, and I'm not an attorney and I can't interpret those, but I can, well, I can interpret them, but not legally. Okay. So someone came last week and they talked about the new legislation, the new court ruling that had passed that essentially implied that if you're calling to offer a listing service as a realtor, you have a little bit more liability than if you're calling as a non if you're calling to make an offer. If you're calling to make an offer. And I agree, that would be my, someone else brought that up. That would also be my interpretation as well. I think that calling and saying, hey, I have a real estate listing service for families going through probate, and that person is on the do not call list, you're offering a service to them. And the way that the court ruling kind of reads is it sounds like you can't call them and offer services if they're on the do not call list, like a for fee listing service. I think that there's a lot of ambiguity in that, and I would still get around that. Like me, I would probably still call and offer the services that I just described to you guys earlier. Why? Because I believe that they are in the court system, which is public. They have listed themselves as the personal representative and administrator and said, contact me with estate or probate related um, um, topics. Okay, so it's kind of like me. If my number's on the do not call list, but then I have it listed online 1,000 different times, and you call me, do I have a leg to stand on if I get mad? No. Um, they've put themselves, whether they wanted to put themselves into the public domain or not, they put themselves into the public domain. It's another reason that people should avoid probate. If you don't have an estate plan, get an estate plan so your family doesn't have to go through this and get calls and have to get calls from someone like me who's justifying the reason that I'm calling you. So that's why I call, even if I was offering a listing service. But I will tell you, if you call and say, "Hey, I was wondering if I could bring you an offer," you're a lot safer than if you said, "Hey, I was calling to see if I could talk to you about listing your house." You're safer with calling the do not call list. Um, I think that there's ways to justify and be safe, regardless of what kind of service you're offering. From there, it just kind of comes down to you as an individual and how you interpret the rules. I believe that there's external ethics and internal ethics. And external ethics are things like, hey, don't kill each other. This is going on YouTube. I hope they don't take the video down. Don't steal, things like that. And internal ethics are things that you kind of come up with on your own. And far be it from me to tell you that your internal ethics are wrong. Only thing I would ever ask is that you don't do the same thing to me. All right. So I typically call most people, especially if I know they're the personal representative and they're in the probate court system as the representative. Next question, Lou. Man, refresh me. This was the complicated. When's Probate Mastery coming down? So what I'm doing is Chad's original version. I've been battling this for 2 years, guys. 2 years. Chad's original version was good. And I was like, man, do I take it down? Do I do my own? And a lot of you guys have seen the version that I did. I did a couple of versions last year. And all the while, I was like, man, some people like Chad's presentation, some people like mine. It's just this battle that I'm having internally. The decision that I made was to take that live version of what I did down for future purchasers. And take all the material, everything that was different about the way that I do probate and the way that Chad does or did probate, and create individual lessons that differentiate. And those lessons are anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 minutes long, and they are getting actively added into the original Chad Corbett version. If you already have Probate Mastery and you already have 2.0 or the one that I did last year, I'm not going to take it away from you. You have it. What I'm telling you is that the new lessons going into the original Probate Mastery that are beefing it up and adding content, adding marketing material, that program, when it's all said and done, and I really think it'll be within the week, is going to be better than you going through 2 or 3 different versions and trying to figure out what's different between the 2 or 3. So you're going to have, if you see Chad Corbett's photo on Probate Mastery certification course, you're going to have that forever. And it's just going to continue to get added to. As new marketing techniques come out, prospecting techniques, I'll just pile new lessons on anytime that there's something else that's working that you need to know about. Someone else had asked, how long does it take to get through Probate Mastery? The way that it will sit at the end of the week, it's probably going to take you about 20 hours to get through from start to finish. That's including at least 4 or 5 hours of Q&A. You don't have to listen to the Q&A, but it's valuable. So people have questions that sometimes you weren't thinking about, and maybe you're like, oh wow, I wish I'd have thought about that, but I'm glad someone else did. So that includes the 4 or 5 hours of Q&A that are in there as well. To really be a master in the space, you're going to learn for a lifetime. You're going to learn for a lifetime. So get through it as fast as possible. Go start to finish through the program. And as you see spin-off things, there's times when in the course we say, hey, you should read this book. Hey, you should go watch this YouTube video. Hey, maybe you should do that. Make a note and go back and become a lifetime learner after you get certified. So 15 to 20 hours to get certified, and then after that, learn every week. If you shut down your learning after you've been through the certification course, your business is going to be fine, but it's not going to be the same as the lifetime learners is. I also saw, and Lou, I'll ask you for the third question again. I thought I'd remember them all, but obviously I'm not. So Jim had asked, what's the investment in Probate Mastery? So Probate Mastery is $500. When all the new lessons are added in, price is going to go up. So we've already picked a new price of $697. If you get it now, you get all the new lessons as well. $697 is going to be rolling out in the very, very near future, within a matter of a couple of weeks at most. So $500 now. Mastery Academy is different. That's the group. That's deep dive. Book a discovery call either on the website or through the email that we sent out to get that get pricing on that. It will be affordable because it's going to be group and not one-on-one, even though there is going to be some one-on-one accountability in it. But if you want to get certified, $500 as of today, and we're at the beginning of July 2025. So if you're listening to this in a month on YouTube, price may have already changed by then. Lou, what's the third?
I think it was a little bit more about like 2.0, and if you're already an alumni, like can you purchase that, or did you kind of answer that the original will be beefed up already with
To a degree. So the original is beefed up. There are certain pieces of strategy that we don't want to saturate every market with. So we have 5,000 alumni in Probate Mastery. And if 5,000 people were all using every single strategy the exact same way, that could saturate a few markets. So there's going to be a few strategies that we're going to hold back exclusively for Mastery Academy, the group coaching. It does not mean that the things in Probate Mastery don't work. I promise you. They all work and they are advanced. There are times when there may be 3 or 4 different things that work, and I give you 1 or 2 in Probate Mastery, and I give you 2 or 3 other things that also work in Mastery Academy. And that way, the people that go through Academy know, hey, what I'm using isn't going to be saturated. Bottom line, saturation doesn't really matter. I've seen people come and go out of this niche. And anytime somebody comes in my market and does a really good job, there's 7 or 8 different things that I can do to continue to see success in my market, even if somebody else is doing one of them really well. And we show all of those to you in the program. What else? Any other questions? Lou, I
Yeah.
think your hand went down and then back up. Was it another
Yeah, because
question somebody asked?
there were 2 more in the queue from Marina. Question about staging the plan. Do you batch all the letters at once each month, every week? PRs are getting different touches. RPR is getting different touches. And then there's a follow-up. I have 2 pain points to discuss.
Mhm.
Competing with investors, getting them listed to represent off market to procure cash offers. Also, what if their attorney wants them to use their preferred agent?
Yep,
So
yep.
there's a few different questions.
Okay. So staging my letters. This is one of those things where I'll give you 2 or 3 strategies in Probate Mastery and 2 or 3 strategies in Mastery Academy because mailing has multiple approaches that all work. Multiple approaches. So most people, when they start mailing, is they get 3 or 4 letters that are just batched to their entire list about 1 month apart, and they start in the beginning. They get their list, send the first letter out a couple of days later, next letter out 30 days later, 30 days after that, 30 days after that, and that's fine. And they'll follow up each letter with a phone call. I kind of like to spend the first month calling only, no mail, and chop my list in half by calling. So if I have 100 leads, by the time I've called them for a month, I've got 40 left that I haven't talked to. Okay, maybe even less. And then I'm mailing those 40 either monthly or another strategy that I've used, and this is going to drive some of you crazy because some people just like tell me exactly what to do. All these work. All of these work. It doesn't have to be one. So another strategy that I use that works is after that 30, 45 day initial runway where I'm calling only, I'll mail 5 pieces 7 to 10 days apart from each other. It's the blitz. It's the, hey, my phone created 60 conversations and I figured out in those conversations where real estate opportunities were, who might be selling, who are just completely dead leads. And then the 40 people that have ignored me, obviously my phone didn't work, so I'm going to give it a 40-day run of mail to see if I can get some of them responding on mail, and then I'll stop the campaign. And maybe I go back to the 15 or 20 that still never responded in a year. Okay. So that is a strategy that works. Pain points. Okay, before I go to pain points, let me tell you a strategy in mail that does not work consistently. So if you're going to do mail 1 or 2 letters, save your money. Save your money. If you're going to do mail, you've got to put a campaign together. If you don't have the money to do 4 or 5 mailers, then just don't do any mail. You can get business a lot of other ways in probate. So I would rather people not burn money when they're really tight on money and they can't put a legitimate multiple touch mail campaign together. Okay. Pain points, competing with investors. I don't really find it very difficult to compete with investors. We've got a ton of investors here. And I'll tell you guys, I'm not really competing with you all, or it's not hard for me to compete with you. That's what I should say. Why? Because even as a broker realtor, my initial phone offer is, would it be okay with you if I brought you an offer? Brought you an offer. So I'm not talking to the prospect about a listing plan early in the conversation. Why? Because if the prospect is selling, a listing is not what they want. A listing is not what they want. A listing might be what they need to get their ultimate outcome, but it's not what they want. If you're selling a house, what do you want? You want a buyer. That's what you want. You want a buyer. It may be necessary to list a house until you understand the person that you're talking to and have rapport and have trust and find them credible. Until that point, you don't want to talk to them about listing. So if you're an agent and you're talking to people on your initial conversation about listing a house, the investor is going to beat you. They're going to beat you because they're offering the only thing that that person really wants, and that's an offer. I'm your buyer. And they may not know that the investor is going to lowball them, but they're talking to them about the only thing that they really want as a buyer. If you're an investor, that's how you beat agents. You're already beating agents because your competitors that are agents are talking to people early without any rapport about a listing process. And that person, they just want a cash offer. They want an offer. That's it. Okay. So that's one way I talk about bringing an offer. That's how I get around the competition of investors. Get them listed to represent off-market cash offers. So I will partner with as many investors as I can, especially those with cash. I'm just trying to meet them everywhere that I can, unless I have my own cash and I want to invest myself. But even if I do, I plan on having more appointments than I can personally carry deals at any given time. So I'm going to meet as many investors as possible. One of my partner investors here is Courtney Rollins. You guys see Courtney, he's in our program. He's a cash investor. He's not licensed. And he and I work together all the time. We'll go on appointments. And sometimes if it's a deal that is a purchase, sometimes we'll just split the purchase. If it's a deal that I end up listing, I make sure that the next time that we get a purchase, it's his. So we work hand in hand. I don't mind other probate mastery students in my market because I'll just pair up with them and we'll tackle the whole list together. Everybody has their strengths. Also, what if the attorney wants them to use a preferred agent? Okay, that's the tough part. Okay, you need to have an attorney plan in place where you're becoming the preferred agent or an agent that's at least getting a crack at it. If the attorney wants them to use a preferred agent and they say it, I'm usually going to go, oh, yeah, I imagine your attorney probably has a referral relationship with an agent. And I don't say they're getting a kickback. I don't say that. Okay. But if the prospect wants to take it that way, I'll let them take it that way. Listen, I imagine your attorney probably has a referral relationship with someone. Listen, far be it from me to step on your attorney's toes. I don't imagine you'd want to take a look at an alternative offer, would you? I don't imagine you'd want to take a look at an alternate offer, would you? Not many people are going to say no to that. At least gets me in the door to show some numbers. Okay. Maybe they say no, and then I'm going to kind of target that attorney as someone that I'm trying to build a relationship with. But most people won't say no, I don't want to see an alternate offer. Yeah, why not? Now, if you say, would you look at an alternate listing plan? A lot of people will say no. No, they're giving me a listing agent. An alternate offer is going to get you more favorable response. All right, we are way over time. I know some of you guys need to go. I'm going to hit these other questions real quick and just see if we can answer anything.
Looks like Marina had some follow-up questions. She has her hand up in the chat.
Marina, do you want to unmute yourself? Yes, you're a little low, but I can hear you.
Okay. So I developed, or my partner and I developed a plan where we could say, here's what you're going to get from an investor off the market. Here's what you're going to get as is on the market. We'll help you get it cleaned out and take care of some of the repairs. And then here's our third option where we represent you and we will field and double check all of the investor options, and we're going to send it out to as many investors as we can. We
Mhm.
show them we show them the proof of here's what you can get. You can net 70,000 more, you can net 40,000 more. And they're like, well, just bring me an offer. And I'll say, okay, well, I can bring you one offer, but if you list with us, even for 7 days, let me bring you some offers. And I can tell you they're going to be a lot better than just one offer. And it's like they don't get it. And I don't know if I'm giving them too many options.
Mhm.
If I can't beat them, should I join them? Should I also be doing wholesaling on top of real estating? It's just really frustrating.
Yeah, yeah. So I found your explanation. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. If I put my consumer's hat on that's just inherited a house and maybe I haven't done a lot of real estate in the past, I would find your explanation confusing.
Okay.
So you want to tighten that down a little bit in the way that you're explaining it.
Okay.
Here's the way that I kind of describe it is, hey, everybody that has a house that needs to sell is a little bit differently. Some people just want quick cash as is. They're okay if they're getting 60, 70, 75 cents on the dollar just to be done.
Mhm.
Okay. Other people, they want to go after as is, as much as they can get without doing repairs to the property. And that's going to require listing. And then the third option is we could beef up the property a little bit, make some repairs, and go after a listing that way. Try to get more value out of it than it could get as is. Which one of those three works best for you? Now, Marina, I know that that third option wasn't one that you rolled out. I felt, and if somebody else, if everybody disagrees with me, that the lines between her second and third option were a little bit confusing. If people disagree with me, let me know. But I felt that the lines between those were a little bit confusing. So those would be the three options I present. Quick cash as is. I can bring you an offer or have one of my investors do it. You're going to get somewhere between 65 and 70 cents on the dollar, but you're not going to have to do anything, no fees. It'll be done.
And they
Alternative,
say, well, how do you get paid then?
how do I get paid? Either I buy the house or my investor will pay me.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The other option is we go as is, but we put the house on the market and try to find an end buyer who will
Mhm.
normally pay a little bit more than an investor would, but we're going to have to get the house ready for the market, get it on the market. You don't have to do anything. We'll do it as is. It's not going to be what your neighbor sold for because it's as is, but it's probably also going to come with a little bit more money than the investors is. Okay. And the third option is we can put some repairs into it, spruce it up a little bit, and try to maximize the value on the market through listing. So, do you want to go like the listing route, or would you rather just get an offer now? And if they say the listing route, then your two choices are as is or make some repairs. If
And
they
so
say
how
make
do
some
you,
repairs, the choices are you make the repairs or I make the repairs.
Mhm.
If I make them, my fees are a little bit higher, but I'll cover everything up front. If you make them, my fees stay low, but you cover everything up front. So I'm just kind of treeing, I'm doing like the tree branch
Triage?
system
Yeah.
where they're choosing one of the initial three routes, and then usually there's one or two offshoots that they can choose from.
So how do you differentiate yourself then if they're basically like they're inviting everybody in, everybody that's called them, they're going to call them all in and they're just going to ask for the very best offer. And it's like in our market, we've got some good actors and some bad actors. And
Mhm.
so I wanted to be the person that would represent them or facilitate and say,
Mhm.
well, let me help you to get the highest offer from an investor. But I think that hasn't worked. Wow, it worked one time.
Yeah, I have a hard time seeing how that model will work consistently.
Okay.
Just because I have a hard time seeing it doesn't mean it won't.
Okay.
It could be thought through a little bit more. I don't see it being a consistent play. So first thing I do is I always look when I have face to face, I always look to differentiate myself from my competitors.
Okay.
So if I'm on a listing appointment and I know they want to list, then I say, hey, there's really two types of agents that are going to come in here. You got your agents that come in, big personality, no presentation at all. They're probably just bringing a couple of MLS sheets to show you comps, and they're relying on their personality to win you over. And then the other type of agent comes in with an 800-page listing booklet, and they're going through all these PowerPoint slides, and after 45 minutes, you're falling asleep. And really, what they're doing is they're just using a brokerage book or slide presentation that their broker gave them. They're kind of compensating for not knowing how to interact with people. So I've totally unfairly
Mhm.
put my competitors in these two camps. And then I go, hey, I'm different. I've got the presentation here for you. I also know how to interact with your buyers. And it's only going to take about 10 minutes to go through this plan. And then the next time, if they've already met with someone, or the next time they meet with someone and that person brings out a big book or a slide presentation, they're like, oh, Bruce told us about that. If the person shows up with a couple of MLS comps and nothing else, they go, Bruce told us about this person too. I could do the same thing on investors. Investors, you got your wholesalers. Wholesalers here. Guys, I love you. We've got wholesalers on here. I'm just telling you how I would compete with you. This is good for you because maybe you can learn how I would compete with you and you can sharpen your skills. So I would say you've got your wholesalers. They're going to present a cash offer, but really they don't have a plan to get you cash. All right. They don't have the money. They don't have any plan on actually closing. They're going to shop your offer, and you might as if somebody's going to shop your house, you might as well shop it on the MLS with a realtor. You've got your cash investors, and sometimes they're trying to get 60 cents on the dollar. I'm just sort of unfairly lumping them into this low category. Um, okay. And then if I'm making you an offer, I have a couple of strategies to get you a little bit more money. Okay, what are you guys going to do? Are you going to sell as is? And then I'm presenting if they want to sell as is and they want an offer, then I'm going to present either mine or my investor's offer. And at that point, it's more of, are we good enough? Is my offer or my investor's offer going to be good enough? And sometimes it's no.
Mhm.
Sometimes I legitimately, if they're bringing everybody in, sometimes I legitimately have a no. This is another reason why I love the families that take 6 months to sell. I love them. Uh, You guys can hate them all you want. You can hate the people that go, I don't know what we're going to do yet. I think that we might keep it. We haven't decided. You can go, oh man, that's not a good lead. I love it because by the time 6 months rolls around, I won't have competition. Okay. If I have competition, I have it in the first month when everybody else is going after the list. I don't have competition in 6 months when my competitors have all fallen off.
Sounds like I need to book a one-on-one call with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Grab one.
Thank you.
All right. Perfect. Okay. I am just glancing through. I don't think I see any other questions. Really appreciate everybody being here. If I missed your question, I apologize. Lou, and the email that we sent out, we've got a discovery session. You can grab 20, 30 minutes with Lou to kind of talk through the plan. If it needs a one-on-one with me, he'll put you on my calendar. And hopefully I see some folks in the group that starts next week. Otherwise, I will see everybody here next Tuesday. And do expect, if you're in probate mastery, do expect a bunch of lessons to be piled in on top of your class through the week. Okay. Appreciate you guys being here. See you next time.